Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott, and I need to start off this political story with something a little more personal. We have two young sons, and I think my wife's favorite part of when they were finally old enough to both be in school is that she could finally pee in peace without some 2.5-year-old going, "Mommy!" about something. Well, as it turns out, my wife has less privilege than United States Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who was harassed while trying to go to the ladies' room at a university in Arizona. You got to watch a little bit of this clip. Here it is.
We need to hold you accountable to what you told us, what you promised us that you were going to pass when we knocked on doors for you. It's not right.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of human trafficking, and it's because of the lack of worker protections that we don't have in the gig economy. I need you to stand by workers.
Now, these protesters, I got to use scare quotes because let's face it, that's harassment. These protesters are breaking several laws. One, you can't videotape people in a public bathroom. That's like 2.5 years maximum. Number two, these protesters are illegal aliens. They're from a group called LUCHA, which ostensibly stands for Living United for Change in Arizona. But if you'll notice, LUCHA is also Spanish for struggle. My struggle. Sorry. I'm a bad man sometimes. I apologize for nothing. And then the protesters, the harassers, harassed Sinema at a fundraiser in a public restaurant. She was forced to flee by a back exit. And then again on, I believe this was Monday, as she was flying back to Washington, one of these same illegal aliens on the airplane getting in her face, which I think Bill mentioned is a violation of federal law. So instead of being deported, President-ish Joe Biden says that this kind of thing, while lamentable, is all a part of the process. Scott, what happened to peeing in peace?
I don't care what side of the aisle somebody is on. Leave them alone in the restroom. But beyond that, this whole harassment strategy, what is this really designed to do? Because it's not designed to persuade Kyrsten Sinema in the traditional sense of saying, you have an idea that disagrees with my idea, and so I want to show you the benefits of my idea and the drawbacks of your idea so that you will change your mind. Now, clearly, they don't want her to change her mind. They are badgering her. They want to not just terrify her. They want her for her to be looking over her shoulder wherever she goes, because they're popping up on airplanes, they're popping up at restaurants, they're popping up in restrooms. They want to send a signal to the rest of anybody who would oppose them that nobody is safe anywhere. We could show up anywhere. And just because right now all we're doing is chanting doesn't mean that's all we know how to do. These people are using terror, and not in the sense of ramming airplanes into tall buildings, but they are trying to mess up somebody's life so that they can never feel comfortable in a public place again. They have to look around every room and think, okay, is that one? Is that one over there? Is somebody going to do something here? Do I need to pay for more security? Do I have to have police around me at all times? This is a strategy that has abandoned public dialogue, has abandoned the idea of persuasion, and is just saying, we want to scare you into doing what we think is right. If their argument could stand on its own two legs, they wouldn't engage in these kind of tactics.
Exactly. And it's not argument, as you just said. Bill, there's so much going on here. The thing that I guess really bugs me is that people who are illegal aliens can videotape themselves committing even more crimes, or misdemeanors at least, post these videos on the internet, and instead of being arrested and maybe even deported, they're being celebrated by the left and even sort of indulged by the president of the alleged president of the United States. So I guess my question is, do you think Senator Sinema will basically save the republic and save civility by continuing to stand her ground, or do you think she's going to go full Chief Justice John Roberts?
Having watched the video, Steve, all I can say is build back better, back the bill. That's the so there's so many things to cover and so little time to cover them. And let's just start with the chanting. the left does nothing but chant. Chanting is what children do. Children chant because they cannot put together coherent thoughts. Children can't chant because they're not capable of reason. And children chant because there's a certain kind of animalistic satisfaction that comes from everybody saying the same thing at the same time. But the chants are never more than two or three words. And, you're talking about a sentence maybe. Hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? Okay, that's not an argument for ending the Vietnam War. There were arguments that you could make, but that's not one of them. So first things first, the left likes to chant because they're children. And when you saw that clip, there's a scene right after she comes out of the bathroom and walks into this other door, and one of these creatures comes back with like, yes, we won. Yes, we did. We won. And they keep chanting and they keep shouting like this is going to make a difference. So the chanting and the childish aspect of it is built into their politics. That's number one. Number two, these people, as Scott pointed out, are using intimidation and fear. Now, this senator has to wonder, the next person coming out of the chanting, are they going to come out chanting, and next time they approach me and come up to my face, are they going to throw glitter in me, or are they going to throw a pie, or are they going to pull a knife, or are they going to draw a gun? I don't know. I just know that people are approaching me, and they have already shown that they have no recognition of civility, society, safe, distances, nothing. They have invaded my personal space. As far as I'm concerned, in the traditional sense, they have already drawn on me. Right? They've already raised the ambient threat level in the way that you do when you point a gun at somebody. Maybe you haven't shot them yet, but when somebody draws on you, now it's an entirely different game. And by doing this, as far as I'm concerned, they've drawn on her. Yes, the reason they get away with it and the reason that they promote it and the reason that they're proud of it is because it fits the left-wing narrative, and so they know that the law does not apply to them. They are on the right side of the narrative, which means the law is irrelevant. There is no law if you're on the right side of the narrative. We all clear on this? My segment this week is about how if you're on the wrong side of the narrative, then the law all of a sudden applies to you in ways that the law never would have otherwise. And so now we begin to see what America has become. It's not a nation of law. It's not a nation where the law is enforced. It's a nation of a narrative. It's a nation of a narrative that of a set of ideas that the vast majority of the people of this country do not want. And it is ruled not by law and not even by democracy. It's ruled by intimidation and fear and aggression and invasiveness and childishness and infantile behavior. And all I think about when I watch these things, Steve, is I yearn for the days where the fighting words actually had legal defensible meaning in court, because if somebody were to do that to me, I think I would risk the jail time and I would put them on the ground. That may not stop them from harassing me in the future, but I do have a sense that the person who decided to get in my face and touch me at first would at least have some idea of the deterrent value of people who are not going to take this kind of thing anymore. And I think, given the fact that we have Marines in jail, Marine lieutenant colonels in jail for having asked for some accountability and in terms of the Afghanistan situation, there are worse places to be than in jail in times like this.
Indeed. Bill, I'm glad you mentioned your segment. If you haven't watched it yet, folks, Bill's going into the weaponization of the FBI against parents of school kids, parents going to school board meetings and protesting.
To protect woke programming. And now they're domestic terrorists. While domestic terrorists like this and BLM and all the rest are not only not domestic terrorists, they're celebrated, and they're going to make the talk show circuit, and they're going to have $1 million mansions, and they're going to have statues erected to them, and so on and so on and so on.
Exactly. So parents trying to raise their kids according to their own values are now domestic terrorists. Illegal aliens breaking even more laws and posting those videos of them breaking those laws to social media. Well, those illegal immigrants are just exercising their rights as Americans. It's a hell of a world. That's your right angle on that. I'm Steve Green for Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.